In the grand cosmic theater, Cancer stands as the sentinel of emotional truth and hidden depths. Governed by the moon, this sign does not merely observe the world. It feels it in its bones. From an astrological perspective, Cancer is a water sign, and water holds memory. It flows where resistance falters, seeping into cracks unseen by the untrained eye, soaking into the soil of the soul. This is the root of Cancer's unparalleled gift, the ability to detect what others cannot, to sense what remains unsaid, and to intuit the invisible threads that bind people and moments together. While others scan the surface for facts, Cancer dives into the undercurrents. They do not rely on cold logic alone, but on a wisdom far more ancient. The wisdom of lunar cycles and ocean tides, of dreams passed through generations, of stories whispered at midnight. The world tells its secrets to Cancer not in words, but in vibrations, glances, silences, and shifts in energy. It is as if their inner compass has been tuned to a frequency most cannot hear. They walk into a room and instantly sense the unspoken tension, the joy someone hides behind a smile, the ache in a voice too brave to tremble. This isn't guesswork. It is a sacred form of knowing, born from a sign that merges heart and spirit with a depth that few can fathom. While others may dismiss what they cannot see or measure, Cancer listens to the soul's language. They detect pain before it surfaces, betrayal before it manifests, hope before it blooms. Their instincts are ancient, maternal, and protective. They can smell a lie like a storm on the horizon and perceive sincerity as surely as one feels sunlight on skin. This gift does not come from ease. It is the harvest of emotional labor, of lessons learned in solitude and shadows. Cancer has walked the valleys of vulnerability and emerged as a guardian of emotional intelligence. Their empathy is not weakness, it is their power. They feel everything, and through that, they come to know everything. Their tears are not mere reactions, but sacred ceremonies of truth. Their silences speak volumes. Their dreams often deliver revelations. What others ignore, Cancer remembers. They pick up on details the world deems irrelevant. Pause in a sentence, a forgotten birthday, a subtle tremor in someone's voice. To Cancer, these are not minor notes. They are the symphony of the soul, and they are listening always. They know that the most important things are often not the loudest. Truth is rarely shouted. It is whispered in small moments, and Cancer is the keeper of those whispers. When darkness falls and others stumble in confusion, it is Cancer who lights a candle in the abyss. They do not fear the unseen. They were born to navigate it. Their intuition is a lighthouse on stormy seas. Protects, it guides, it warns. Others may call it irrational, but time and time again, Cancer's gut feeling proves to be the deeper truth. They are not guessing, they are remembering what the stars already told them. Even the cosmos bows to Cancer's inner knowing. Their ruling planet, the moon, shifts tides and moods alike, a testament to the power of unseen forces. Cancer's awareness mirrors this, sensitive, cyclical, and profoundly attuned. Their connection to the divine feminine, to nurturing energy, to ancestral wisdom, enables them to stand at the crossroads between the material and the mystical. What is dismissed by logic, Cancer embraces as intuition. What is overlooked by intellect, Cancer understands through the heart. They do not need proof, because they are the proof. Walking vessels of wisdom accumulated across lifetimes, interpreters of emotional undercurrents that shape destinies. In their presence, people feel seen in ways they cannot explain. They may not always be able to articulate how they know what they know, but they feel it, and it is always real. Cancer's path is not easy, but it is exalted. They bear the weight of knowing, of feeling too much in a world that feels too little. And yet they continue, protectors of sacred knowledge, champions of the hidden, warriors of heart truth. In a world that glorifies noise, Cancer listens to the quiet and finds the answers that others miss. This is not intuition alone, it is a form of emotional heroism. Cancer stands at the edge of consciousness, pulling truths from the deep. What others call mystery, Cancer calls memory. Where others see chaos, Cancer sees the blueprint. They walk among us cloaked in empathy, with a gaze that penetrates illusion and a soul that never forgets. Through this sacred sensitivity, Cancer does not just detect what others ignore. They preserve it, honor it, and give it voice. They are the moonlit poets of perception, the sentinels of soul-level truth, and the quiet power that feels everything, and therefore knows everything. Beyond the intuitive sensitivity already illuminated, there are deeper layers to Cancer's perception, layers forged in astrological silence, wrapped in myth, and activated through lived experience. Cancer is not merely a receiver of emotional frequencies. They are a spiritual archivist of the human condition. Their memories are not just personal, they are collective. This sign, tied to the fourth house of home, heritage, and roots, holds the emotional DNA of families, generations, and civilizations. They tap into the subtle timelines that others forget, retrieving ancestral wisdom encoded in gestures, traditions, dreams, and fears long buried. This connection to the ancestral realm grants Cancer access to a well of understanding far beyond their years. They are often old souls not because of what they have done in this life alone, but because they carry echoes of what came before. The past speaks through them, not in loud declarations, but in sacred urges to protect, to remember, to nourish. They inherit not only pain, but purpose. They know what has been lost in the chase for progress and hold the key to restoring balance through memory, emotion, and care. In mythology, Cancer was placed among the stars not for the strength of its claws but for its loyalty and sacrifice. When others ran toward glory, Cancer acted in devotion. This speaks to their ability to detect what others miss. The meaning behind the moment, the invisible cost of ambition, the silent needs of the soul. In a world that races toward visibility, Cancer thrives in the unseen sanctuaries, between heartbeats, in the shadow of a sigh, at the edge of a tear never shed. Their connection to the moon does more than rule their moods, it links them to time itself. The moon is the clock of the cosmos, marking tides, growth cycles, and emotional rhythms. Cancer, in turn, becomes a guardian of timing, knowing when to act, when to retreat, when to wait, when to hold on, and when to let go. Others may misread signs or force what is not ready, but Cancer moves in accordance with universal rhythm. They feel the pulse of destiny in their chest, and when they move with purpose that transcends explanation. This sensitivity extends beyond people into places and atmospheres. Cancer can walk into a room and feel the history embedded in its walls. They sense what happened there, who laughed, who mourned, who left and never returned. Environments speak to them. Their awareness is atmospheric, not just interpersonal. They carry an emotional cartography, mapping the energy of homes, lands, and sacred spaces. Where others see a house, Cancer sees a story. Where others see furniture, Cancer sees symbols of love, loss, and continuity. Because of this deep awareness, Cancer often feels the weight of the world. But this weight is not a burden, it is a mantle. Their strength is not loud or performative, but rooted, like the foundation of an ancient temple. They understand that true power is not always expressed in dominance or noise, but in the unwavering ability to stand present with what is difficult, to hold pain without turning away, to witness suffering without closing the heart, to stay when others flee. This is a rare courage, the quiet kind that reshapes the world not through force, but through presence. Cancer also perceives emotional patterns before they become evident. They feel the trajectory of relationships, the way a situation will unfold emotionally, the way someone's internal landscape is changing long before that person speaks of it. It is not manipulation or control. It is attunement. They feel the emotional climate the way birds sense weather shifts. It allows them to prepare, to nurture, to shield, or to step aside with grace before storms arrive. This mastery is invisible to most. The world rarely sees the battles Cancer fights within, the boundaries they erect despite longing to give endlessly, the intuition they must continually refine and trust in a culture that prizes proof over feeling. And yet, they persevere. For Cancer knows that emotional intelligence is not a soft skill. It is a superpower. The ability to hold complexity, to see nuance, to forgive without forgetting, to nurture without enabling, to grieve and still give love. These are not minor traits. These are the gifts that heal generations. They carry the archetype of the healer, the protector, the emotional alchemist. Through their presence, old wounds are soothed. Through their touch, cold hearts thaw. Through their voice, others find the courage to speak truths long buried. They have walked through their own emotional labyrinths and emerged with lanterns in their hands, ready to guide others through theirs. There is also in Cancer a quiet defiance. Though they appear soft, they are unyielding when it matters. Their shell is not just a defense, it is armor forged through trial. They do not break easily. They bend, they feel, they cry, but they rise. Again and again they rise. And in that rising, they teach others how to rise with heart intact. Their legacy is not one of conquest but of compassion. Not domination but devotion. Not attention but impact. They are the moonlight that steadies the tides, the heartbeat that echoes through the ages, the sanctuary that cannot be shaken. When others chase noise, Cancer protects silence. When others seek spotlight, Cancer keeps the flame alive in the hearth. When others forget, Cancer remembers. And in that remembering, they preserve what is sacred. In that remembrance, they change the world. In the vast celestial architecture, Cancer does not merely play the role of the empath. It serves as the guardian of emotional sovereignty and sacred inner worlds. This archetype, deeply rooted in the lunar mystery, is not limited to nurturing alone. Cancer's intuition is also a weapon, forged in stillness and wielded with grace. Where the world glorifies logic, Cancer brings forth the wisdom of feeling, reminding all that truth is not always rational, but it is always real. There exists within Cancer a fierce psychic armor, cultivated not to escape the world, but to navigate it with integrity. The shell they carry is not weakness, but wisdom, an understanding that vulnerability must be sacred, not public spectacle. This emotional boundary is often misunderstood, yet it is essential. It allows Cancer to protect the sanctity of their inner temple. It is within that space that they conduct their deepest work, sensing emotional shifts, decoding subtle energy patterns, and discerning truth from illusion with a kind of spiritual radar. While others chase outward validation, Cancer builds sanctuaries, both literal and metaphorical. They have the rare gift of turning space into soul, creating atmospheres that soothe, mend, and inspire. The energy they cultivate in their homes, in their presence, is not accidental. It is intentional magic. They weave together textures of safety, sense of memory, the rhythm of care. They understand how energy moves through matter, and through this knowing, they become quiet architects of healing environments. Their ability to make others feel safe is not simply hospitality. It is energetic alchemy. Cancer is also a master of emotional time travel. Their connection to memory is not bound by linear chronology. They walk through past, present, and future emotions as easily as the tides shift on a shore. This gift allows them to hold space for others in a way few can. They feel the original wound even if it occurred decades before. They sense the origin point of grief, the quiet beginning of longing, the unspoken need beneath hardened words. They listen to echoes others cannot hear. And more than that, they carry forward emotional legacies in order to transform them. Through them, unresolved patterns meet redemption. Through them, familial pain finds release. Through them, silence finds its voice. In Cancer, we encounter the energy of sacred defense. They are not only here to nurture, but to shield. Just as the crab protects its tender core with a hard shell, Cancer protects the vulnerable truths of others. They hold confidences like sacred scrolls, never to be broken. They understand the cost of betrayal, and so they become guardians of trust. This is why others are drawn to them in times of darkness, because they instinctively know that Cancer will hold them with a reverence the world often withholds. In the war between ego and soul, Cancer stands on the side of the soul, whispering courage into hearts too bruised to believe again. What goes unnoticed is the amount of emotional intelligence required for this path. Cancer must constantly balance their own sensitivity with the noise of a world that does not prioritize emotional clarity. They must decipher whether what they feel is their own or belongs to someone else. This boundary work is profound. It demands mastery, and Cancer, with their silent strength, rises to meet it. They are not merely feeling, they are translating energies, processing pain, witnessing healing in real time, and doing so while often remaining invisible to the very world they are elevating. The moon's rulership gifts Cancer with access to cyclical wisdom. They understand that life unfolds in phases, that darkness is not an enemy but a fertile ground. They do not panic in the void. They know that silence precedes the song, that retreat is not failure but sacred strategy. When others despair during emotional winters, Cancer keeps faith with the seasons of the soul. They do not rush blooming because they honor roots. They wait, watch, tend, and trust the timing of becoming. In this way, they remind the world that transformation begins in the unseen, that healing is not performance, that depth is not a liability. Cancer is also a silent revolutionary. Though often seen as conservative or traditional, they are not chained to the past. They are keepers of what is essential. In a world that discards history in pursuit of novelty, Cancer protects the emotional heritage of humanity. They remember the values that must not be forgotten: devotion, loyalty, care, and interdependence. They rebel not through noise, but through enduring love. Their revolution is one of remembrance. In a culture of detachment, they remain rooted. In a world that rewards disposability, they remain loyal. In a time of fragmentation, they weave bonds that last lifetimes. And perhaps most epic of all is Cancer's relationship to pain. They do not fear it. They sit with it, cradle it, learn from it. They do not run from the ache of memory, they consecrate it. They understand that grief is not weakness, but a map to what matters. In a world that numbs, Cancer feels. In a world that denies, Cancer accepts. In a world that hides, Cancer reveals, softly, wisely, with timing as precise as the moon's orbit. Their legacy is not measured in accolades or applause, but in the lives they quietly change, the hearts they help stitch back together, the truths they unearth from beneath layers of denial. Their strength is not celebrated by the world, but it is the strength upon which the world survives. Without Cancer, the soul would starve. Without Cancer, memory would wither. Without Cancer, love would lose its anchor. They are the emotional navigators of the zodiac, moving not by sight but by knowing. They guide through intuition, protect through wisdom, and transform through love. In them lives the proof that softness is not the absence of power, but its highest form. They do not need to be seen to change everything. They already do. In every silence they respect, in every tear they understand, in every truth they honor, they embody the moon's sacred promise, to light the night, to reflect what is hidden, and to rise again and again, no matter how many times the sky goes dark. In the celestial hierarchy, Cancer possesses a resonance that extends far beyond human emotion or earthly intuition. It is the sacred steward of emotional alchemy, a sign that transforms raw, chaotic feeling into transcendent understanding. This capacity does not emerge from mere empathy. It is born of a metaphysical link to the source of all nurturing, the divine matrix that sustains existence. Cancer is not simply connected to the moon. It is a living embodiment of lunar law, a keeper of soul tides that shift beneath the surface of mortal awareness. Where others collapse under the weight of their inner world, Cancer becomes stronger. Their emotional body is not a burden but a map to the divine. Each feeling they endure carves deeper channels through which spiritual truth can flow. They carry an inner vessel, a chalice that holds not only their own sorrows and hopes, but those of the collective. It is through this vessel that Cancer heals, not by force, but by absorbing pain, sanctifying it, and returning it as wisdom. This is transmutation in its highest form, a sacred priesthood of the soul. Astrologically, Cancer's cardinal modality is often overlooked, yet it holds the secret to their quiet power. Cardinal signs initiate, they begin, they lead, they set into motion. Cancer does not initiate in the way of fire or intellect, but through feeling. They are the originators of emotional action, the ones who stir still waters and awaken hidden truths. When a Cancer steps into a room, the emotional climate shifts. Walls of denial begin to crack. False smiles begin to falter. The heart awakens, not by demand, but because it senses that in Cancer's presence, it is finally safe to speak. Their leadership is not imposed, it is invited. Others look to Cancer not because they are loud, but because they are real. In a world starved for authenticity, Cancer becomes a beacon. Their vulnerability is not decoration. It is the foundation upon which others find the courage to feel. They make it safe to cry, to admit longing, to grieve what was lost. They do not rush this process. They honor each phase of emotional evolution, as the moon honors its phases, waxing and waning with sacred inevitability. Cancer also holds a mystical relationship with the concept of origin, not only in terms of family, but in the realm of soul contracts. Before incarnation, it is said that souls choose their path, their lessons, their bonds. Cancer, more than any other sign, retains the memory of these pre-birth intentions. They may not be able to articulate it in linear thought, but they feel when something or someone is part of their soul's design. This is why they are so drawn to create bonds that transcend time. They are not seeking surface companionship. They are reuniting fragments of their soul's journey, mending karmic threads through presence and love. They are often misunderstood because the world measures strength by visibility and productivity. Cancer, however, understands that some of the most powerful forces move underground. The roots of a forest, the tectonic shifts of Earth, the quiet heartbeat of a growing life. These are Cancer's domains. Their impact may not be broadcasted, but it is profound. When a Cancer changes a life, it happens at the level of essence. They rewrite internal scripts, they rewire emotional reflexes, they reintroduce the lost child within to a voice of compassion. In esoteric astrology, Cancer is not merely the sign of personal emotion. It is the gateway through which souls enter incarnation. It is the womb of the zodiac, the portal from spirit to flesh. Through Cancer, spirit becomes matter. This gives them an unparalleled understanding of incarnation itself. They sense the fragility of human life because they are in constant conversation with the realm from which life emerged. This connection gives them a kind of reverence for the human experience, a deep, almost holy respect for existence in all its messy, luminous form. Even their silence is sacred. It is not the absence of speech but the presence of depth. When Cancer is silent, they are listening with more than ears, they are listening with soul. They absorb what others cast off, find meaning in discarded fragments, and see beauty where others see brokenness. They do not need to fix what is broken to love it. They love through the brokenness, and in doing so, they become a mirror to divine love, unconditional, undemanding, and eternal. Their connection to water is not metaphorical. It is elemental. Water remembers. Water transmits. Water heals. Cancer channels this wisdom in every aspect of their being. They feel the tides of time moving through them. They understand that what has been denied must be honored, that what has been silenced must be heard, that what has been hidden must be held. They are not afraid of emotional chaos because they were born to bring order through feeling, to baptize pain and lift it into grace. They are the ones who stand at the threshold when others retreat. They hold space at the moment of collapse. They are present when masks fall away, when the illusion of control crumbles, when the real truth emerges raw and trembling. And in those moments, Cancer does not look away. They extend their soul forward and say, without words, "You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not too much." In this, Cancer is not only a sign, they are a force, a tide that cannot be stopped, a rhythm older than time, a soul that chooses again and again to feel, even in a world that numbs. They are the promise that softness can survive, that feeling is a form of knowing, that care is a cosmic technology capable of repairing even the deepest wounds. They are the heart of the cosmos, beating steadily beneath the stars. The quiet storm that reshapes the landscape not with destruction, but with remembrance. The guardian of the inner world, the oracle of what lies beneath, the warrior of love not yet spoken. Where others see the end, Cancer sees the beginning. Where others see the fall, Cancer sees the seed. Where others flee the dark, Cancer becomes the moon, shining with the light of all that cannot be extinguished. In the vast symphony of the zodiac, Cancer sings a note that echoes not only through the waters of the world, but through the waters of the cosmos itself. Its vibration is not confined to personal emotion or familial connection, but to the universal flow of life itself, primal, instinctual, and divine. Cancer is the point where the infinite chooses to become finite, where the eternal enters time, where soul seeks the vessel of body and spirit makes contact with sensation. It is the moment the cosmos becomes mother, the moment creation chooses care as its foundation. This sign is ruled by the moon, yet its essence stretches beyond lunar phases into the celestial mysteries of divine femininity and sacred receptivity. Cancer embodies the holy womb of the zodiac, not just in the literal sense, but as the archetype of divine gestation, the mystical space where transformation is prepared, where power is accumulated in quiet, where the future is nurtured in secrecy. It is the place where miracles take form before they are seen. While fire signs bring vision and air signs bring words, Cancer births the intangible into the real through the sacred act of holding. This holding is not passive. It is a radical stance of being. To hold space, to hold silence, to hold someone in grief, to hold the self in vulnerability. This is the kind of power Cancer commands. It is a power that does not dominate but elevates, that does not impose but embraces, that does not demand but allows. In holding, Cancer initiates one of the most crucial acts of spiritual warfare in an age that demands detachment and disconnection. Presence. Cancer's connection to the element of water is more than emotional. It is energetic and multidimensional. Water is the element that bridges worlds. It flows between the known and the unknown, between the waking world and the dream realm, between form and formlessness. Cancer becomes a medium for these energies, capable of carrying messages from the unconscious to the conscious, from the spirit realm to the earth plane. Dreams, visions, memories, and sensations move through them like rivers, and in their stillness, they are able to translate these sacred codes into understanding and compassion. This is why so many Cancers are artists, mystics, seers, and healers, even when they do not consciously choose those roles. They are channels for beauty, for essence, for remembrance. Their creations are often not constructed, but born. Their insight is not derived, but received. They do not simply speak, they transmit. What they share carries frequency, vibration, healing resonance. It is not about volume, it is about depth. Cancer's energy, while deeply nurturing, is also protective in a way that transcends the physical. It carries the frequency of the sacred guardian, the eternal sentinel at the gateway between worlds. In myth, they are often associated with the figure of the high priestess, the veiled one who knows what others do not, who guards the hidden temples of ancient wisdom. They do not reveal easily, because they understand that not everything sacred should be shared with the unready. Their caution is not fear, it is reverence. In this world of overexposure, Cancer remembers the sacredness of privacy, of mystery, of things kept close to the heart. They are not only sensitive to people, they are sensitive to timelines. There are moments in life that require silence, others that require surrender, and others that require fierce protection. Cancer has the unique ability to sense the shift between these states, to know when to withdraw and when to rise, when to cradle and when to confront. This is not confusion, it is complexity. They do not live by rigid logic because life itself is not logical. Life is felt, and Cancer is its most attuned interpreter. In their relationships, Cancer embodies a depth of loyalty that mirrors the soul's eternal longing for union. They do not love lightly. When they commit across dimensions. Their loyalty is ancestral. It reaches back through lifetimes. It is not just to people but to truths, to values, to essence. This is why betrayal cuts them so deeply. It is not just a broken agreement. It is a fracture in something sacred. And yet, even in their deepest pain, Cancer learns how to transmute, how to find meaning in suffering, how to become the healer through the wound. They are not only survivors, they are rebirthers. They take the shards and sculpt new worlds from them. What is rarely seen is Cancer's mystical relationship with the cycles of reincarnation. They are instinctively aware that life is not a singular line, but a spiraling evolution of soul. They feel karmic patterns as sensations, know when something is ancient even if it wears a modern face. They understand that not all pain belongs to this life, and not all love is new. They carry soul memory in their hearts and often act from a place of knowing that cannot be explained. This makes them seem irrational to the uninitiated. But to those who see with spiritual eyes, Cancer is a master of soul lineage. They are not here to ascend through escape, but to ascend through embodiment. They do not flee the human experience, they sanctify it. They remind the world that enlightenment does not lie in detachment, but in sacred connection. That divinity is not a mountaintop of isolation, but a kitchen table full of love. That God is not only found in the stars, but in the tears wiped from a child's cheek, in the silence shared between two aching hearts, in the home built not of walls but of presence. Cancer is the astral midwife, the soul companion, the emotional alchemist, the priestess of remembering. Their journey is not easy, for to feel so deeply is to bleed with the world. But they do not collapse. They rise again and again, not as fire, but as water, shaping stone, wearing down injustice, smoothing pain into peace. Their legacy is not built in thunder, but in tides. And their impact is not marked in time, but in eternity. They are the hidden strength beneath the surface, the soul's echo in the heart of the storm, the protector of what matters, the guardian of what endures. In a world of noise, they are the song that calls us home.